Welcome back. Today we're doing a deep dive into a crisis that really changed things. The 1985 hijacking of TWA Flight 847.
Yeah, this was a grueling 17-day ordeal. It fundamentally shifted how we saw aviation security, terrorism, even the media's role.
Exactly. Our sources paint this picture of brutality, yes, but also incredible heroism and complex geopolitics all wrapped up together.
And our mission for you today is to unpack that. How did this one event become such a watershed moment? It started with just two hijackers.
Shockingly fast, too. June 14th, 1985. They leave Athens, and almost immediately, two Hezbollah members take control, Mohammed Ali Hamadeh and Hassan Izzeldin.
And they weren't heavily armed, were they? Just a pistol, a couple of grenades.
That's right. Slipped right through what was, well, pretty lax security at the time.
And the violence was immediate. Slamming the purser, Uli Derrickson, pistol whipping Captain Testrake.
Was that just, panic? Or was it planned?
Oh, it was calculated. Sources are clear on this. Establish absolute control from the get-go. Make it clear resistance is futile.
That really set the stage, didn't it?
It did.
Yeah.
For all 17 days.
Let's follow their plan. Those first couple of days were just chaotic flying, right? Back and forth. Beirut, Algiers, Beirut again.
It seems chaotic, but it was actually quite clever. Psychologically exhausting for everyone on board.
And it made any kind of rescue attempt incredibly difficult, I imagine.
Impossible, basically. And Beirut. That was key. On the second stop there, something crucial happened.
What was that?
Nearly a dozen more militants just drove onto the tarmac, boarded the plane, heavily armed.
Wow. So the plane basically became a fortified Hezbollah base.
Precisely. Beirut was their sanctuary, their strategic hub for this.
Okay. So amidst all this calculated terror, you also had these moments of, unexpected bravery.
We do, but first, we really need to address the darkest moment. The murder of Robert Stethem.
U.S. Navy Steelworker Second Class.
Right. He was targeted specifically because he was American military personnel.
The sources describe a horrific beating with a metal armrest.
Yes, savage. And they tried to force him to cry out into a microphone, but he refused.
Just absolute defiance.
Which apparently enraged Hamadeh. He shot Stethem point blank in the temple.
And then they just dumped his body onto the tarmac.
It was brutal. A clear message. Revenge for a car bombing in Beirut, they said, but also sheer deadly resolve aimed at the U.S.
Horrifying. But then in stark contrast, you have someone like Uli Derrickson, the purser.
An incredible figure in this. Her native German actually helped her communicate with the hijackers, believe it or not. She became this accidental diplomat.
Trying to de-escalate, protect passengers.
Exactly. And then there's that famous moment in Algiers. They needed fuel. Ground crew refused without payment.
And she paid for it herself with her own credit card.
Yep. Pulled out her personal Shell oil card, paid $5,500 for 6,000 gallons of jet fuel.
That's astonishing. Just sheer quick thinking under unimaginable pressure.
It likely prevented immediate executions right there. And you also had Captain Testrake.
Right. Keeping the plane flying under duress. And that interview.
The ABC News interview through the cockpit window with the hijacker's arm literally draped over his shoulder.
Surreal. That image just burned itself into the public consciousness, didn't it?
It really did. It showed the world, live on TV, the power these hijackers now had over the narrative.
Which brings us to their larger goals. It wasn't just terror for terror's sake, was it?
No, the primary demand was very specific. The release of 766 Lebanese Shiite prisoners being held by Israel.
And this was Hezbollah trying to make a name for itself, to sort of outflank the more moderate Amal militia.
Exactly. It was a strategic power play within Lebanon, using this international crisis to validate their more violent methods.
And the media played right into it, didn't it? This was the era of the CNN effect, 24-hour news.
Absolutely. The hijackers and later the Amal leader Nabi Berri, who got involved in negotiations, they became masters of media manipulation.
Using American television as a platform for their demands.
Turning living rooms into part of the crisis zone. The media wasn't just reporting, it was being used tactically.
So how did it end? They eventually moved the last 40 hostages off the plane,
right?
Hid them in Beirut.
Yeah, scattered them across the city, made a military rescue completely impossible at that point.
So the U.S. had to negotiate.
Yeah.
Despite the no concessions policy.
They were forced into back-channel talks. The deal was complex. The hostages were released.
And the prisoners in Israel.
Shortly after the hostages came home, Israel began releasing those Shiite prisoners in stages, not officially linked, of course, but
a pragmatic solution that effectively bent the rules.
You could say that. It was certainly seen as a win for Hezbollah's strategy.
But justice for Robert Stethem, that was a different story.
Tragically, yes. Hamadeh, the man who shot him, was arrested in Germany in 87. But he was released in 2005 after only 19 years.
Which caused outrage in the U.S., understandably.
Deep anger, yes. But that sense of helplessness during the hijacking itself, it had immediate consequences back in Washington.
How so?
It directly led to the creation of the CIA's Counterterrorism Center, the CTC, in 1986.
A dedicated agency focus.
And a major push to expand the federal air marshal program. This event was a catalyst. It forced real systemic change in counterterrorism and aviation security globally.
So it's this dual legacy, isn't it? A tactical victory in many ways for Hezbollah, but also a wake-up call that reshaped security worldwide.
That's a good way to put it.
And thinking about that media angle, the hijackers mastering the 24/7 news cycle gave them immense leverage. So here's a thought for you listening. How has today's digital age, with social media, smartphones, live streaming, how has that amplified or maybe even complicated that dynamic where the narrative itself becomes a tool in a crisis?